Hello, I'm doing another video. I have another request from an audience member today. This one I'm really curious about. I mean, granted, I'm always curious about videos that you guys suggest, but this one is from my viewer Sean. Shout out to Sean, he's one of my live stream homies. And the song is Heavy as the Head by the Zac Brown Band, which normally I wouldn't listen to Zac Brown. My upbringing with Zac Brown Band is my parents are huge fans. Every time I'm back home in Florida, my parents have a Pandora radio station for Zac Brown Band radio, so I'm very familiar with them in the background because I kind of grew up with their music, but I've never actively listened to it. It's just something that my parents always put on. So I know it's a little more in the realm of kind of country, but Sean says that this song is a huge change up from what they normally do. And I am all for bands changing up their sound to try to maybe reach a different audience or expand what they're passionate about. Zac Brown Band's been around for a long time. This song came out in 2015. So I'm behind the power curve, but I'm curious. I'm always curious. And I'm always open to trying new music. So I have no idea when he says change it up. I don't know what Sean means by that. But that would maybe assume that it's not so country for being Zac Brown. So, I'm curious. Let's give it a shot, huh? We've got our headphones. And this song, we'll go ahead and get into it, is Heavy is the Head by the Zac Brown Band. I can't wait to tell my parents that I'm listening to Zac Brown Band on my YouTube channel. They're gonna be so happy. Alright, let's check it out. So reminds me of something. I don't know what though.
Black dog drinks from the water, trying to cool his tongue. Like the king finds no peace, his work is never done. Nightfall, smoke on the water.
So first of all, to me what makes a song good, I guess what makes a song really stand out more for me is a nice bass line and a nice guitar riff. If there's some good riffs and there's a funky, fresh bass line, that's all I really need to enjoy a song. And so I see what Sean means by it's different than what Zac Brown is known for, because this definitely does not sound like the Zac Brown Band. From what I know, from having grown up listening to it in the background in my parents' house, I'm trying to think of what it reminds me of, and I cannot think of it. It's driving me nuts. But, because it is a little more of that like kind of like country rock, which I've heard before. God, listening to anything, it makes me get southern. The accent's coming out. It's not a bit. I promise it's not a bit. If I'm ever exposed to any form of like a southern culture, anything country, my accent comes out. But yeah, so I see what Sean is saying about how it's different, but it's got a really fuzzy bass and it's got a guitar riff, and I'm simple. That's what I like in music, you know? Sue me. So let's keep going. Let's see if I remember what this reminds me of.
Darkness closes in, cold white hand in the deep will drown you for your sins. It's a lifelong expedition, second guessing your decisions, trying to find out what's been missing. Hey, just keep on
Yeah, so this is, I'm still trying to think of what it reminds me of. I'm still coming up blank. But the riffs, honestly, the guitar, it's like noodling. It reminds me a lot of riffing on the flute, because flautist. The notes are very articulate and very straightforward. Whereas instead of being like chords or anything, it's just these like single notes that are just, you know, riffing all around. They're just noodling. That's very fun for me to hear as a flute player because I used to transcribe music. And so I think of like, I'm like, man, I could totally transcribe that if I wanted to. No, this sounds like the kind of song that you play in your truck. The windows roll down and you play it real loud. Very Florida, very central. I grew up in Central Florida. If people are new here, if people are Zac Brown fans and they just were like, oh, who is this girl? I grew up in like Central Florida where like all the white people are redneck, so the accent is bothering me, but I can't not talk with my accent when I'm like listening to anything country or, oh my god. Anywho, let's keep going.
For those who kiss the ring, stand around. The walls are coming down.
What does this remind me of? It's driving me nuts.
Madman, blood on the altar. The queen will have his head. His ghost will shake those rattling chains long after he's dead. No soul knows his trouble high upon his throne. Loved by few and judged by many. He bears that weight alone.
Okay, there was like a whole extra measure in there. I don't know, I feel like I'd have to go back and really figure out what just happened there, but I definitely feel like there was an extra measure thrown in there that completely kind of tossed me off the rhythm, but I like that. That's the thing, is that there's a song by a DJ called Kid. You guys know I love Kid. Where it does the same thing, where you expect the drop to happen, but there's an entire extra measure shoved in right where you think the drop is gonna be. So you're like ready to headbang, and then you're like, wait, there's one more there's a whole measure of like another, just like a kick drum, and then the drop happens after. But it's like it throws you for this loop. It kind of keeps you on your toes, because like I said, you gotta change up songs a little bit, you know? Like, you gotta, I said this with the Billie Eilish video, like she's gotta put it, put it in 6/8, do something different than 4/4, or do things like this, put an extra measure, or make a measure 5/4, something to kind of make it stand out so that it has more of a lasting impression on me as a viewer, or listener, I guess. But I like that. That was a fun little nugget. Thanks for the nugget. Guitar solo. It's going back and forth. You bust your headphones.
For those who kiss the rain, stand around. Yeah, the walls are coming down. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Okay. Just like I said, with keeping me on my toes, there was a little chunk right there at the end where it goes back into the heavy is the head that wears the crown, where I was like, okay, so we have a DSL coda. I was like, it's gonna go back to the beginning of the song. It's gonna kind of do that again. It did it like half of a one time, and then it threw in that extra, some more riffies, some more instrumentation that wasn't at the beginning. So it wasn't a DLC coda, it was just repeating what the beginning of the song sounded like without actually going back. But I was like totally prepared, like music brain, I was prepared for it to be one thing. And so the fact that if you can confuse a musician, like if you can, as an artist, make a song that a musician can't predict, then I think it's a good song. I think I pretty much said everything I needed to say. But no, I definitely like that more than I like normal Zac Brown Band because it's a little bit more of that rock style music. So great suggestion. I can't think of what it reminds me of, so feel free to let me know in the comments. I also know this kind of an older song, being from 2015. It's not like a modern day thing, but sometimes it's fun to kick it back a little bit and see what I've been missing. If you want to submit songs, there's a link down in the bio, in the description down there. You can submit whatever song you want and I will listen to it ASAP. Also, if you want to help support the channel, please like, comment, subscribe, and maybe consider joining my Patreon. It starts at $5 a month and it helps me pay my editor and pay my rent and support my poor little non-monetized reaction channel, because it be like that. Sending so much love, you cutie patooties. I will see you somewhere over the rainbow.